Hello, my name's David Seaman, and this is the Three Lions Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions Podcast. My name's Russell Osborne. This is an independent England football supporters podcast. I hope it finds you well. Hope you enjoyed the recent episode that looked at Thomas Tuchel's first 10 games. That is available at your podcast provider of choice or threelionspodcast.com. Also, the Lionesses rounded off their homecoming series by winning 2-0 against Ghana down at Southampton's St Mary's. Now, they will be in action once again next February as their qualifying for the 2027 World Cup gets underway. Now, as promised, this is the episode that looks at the World Cup draw for the senior men. Friday, the 5th of December, over at a cold, snowy Kennedy Centre in Washington, D.C., the draw for the 2026 World Cup was made. A tournament, of course, being held between Canada, Mexico and the United States. I'm sure by now you know I don't like to mix the podcast with politics. I think we can chuck that out the window for the next 25 minutes. I don't think I can do this without getting irate. Plus, FIFA started it, didn't they? Usually these draws are interesting. I get excited by them. We're all working out the permutations of who we could be drawn against, looking down each list of pots, seeing who plays for who, reminiscing about previous encounters, who will be tough to beat, who we should beat, where we're playing, and then jumping on Skyscanner to find the best flights. This time around, it feels a bit different. Whilst it is being held in 3 different countries, make no mistake, this is very much America's World Cup. And it was a shame that there was no England supporters travel club draw party as there's previously been. There wasn't one this year. Back at the end of October, they sent an email out asking where fans would like to have one in the country, be it London, centrally, or up north, Manchester, Leeds or Newcastle way, I think they said. You had to register your interest. And having been to a few of these before, they've been really good. They've been enjoyable, well organised, chance to catch up with fans that you wouldn't normally do, have a beer, usually they'd lay on a little bit of food. There's usually an ex-England pro there who sort of give a few anecdotes and stories about the World Cup that they've played in before. And it's also an opportunity for businesses to show up and sell trips and tours, the likes of Sport Ops and that. But this time, with only a few days until the draw, we were told that there was going to be no draw party. Not enough interest or venue availability. Or then when you see some of the travel club staff walking into the draw venue with Thomas Tuchel, you think... Anyway, it's a shame. It would have been good. Now, if you can afford to go to the World Cup, amazing. I don't begrudge you one little bit. Enjoy it. Having been to 4 World Cups before, they are great. But for this time, for the vast majority of us, myself included, it's a stretch too far financially. Unless I have some sort of windfall or win a competition, I'm not going. Flights in general across the pond will always be a large outlay whenever you go. But if you are leaving it late, then as you'd expect, they will increase. Then there's the internal transportation to factor in, depending on where you stay and where England play. There's the general cost of living out there, cost of tickets. I'm not really going to go into that too much. I say this at the moment before ticket costs have been officially announced through the Supporters Club. It may well turn out to be a better deal than we expected? I don't think so, but you never know. And we already know that different stadiums have different price structures, which isn't something we've had to deal with before. And we also know that the cheaper seats are high up in the gods rather than being behind the goal, which has generally been the norm. So it's a shame. And then factor in FIFA and their president, Gianni Infantino, who since last summer and the Club World Cup has built what appears to be a close relationship with Donald Trump. It all starts to look very icky. Ugh. So the draw. Infantino came onto the stage speaking more languages than C-3PO, just giving it the really awkward, hard sell. And at one point he said the tournament would be 104 Super Bowls in 1 month. He then gave a cringeworthy call for the audience to shout, USA, USA, followed by Canada, Canada, and then obviously Mexico, Mexico, trying to whip the crowd up into a frenzy. Oh, he'd have trouble whipping up a Mr. Whippy. And I think it was then that my WhatsApp really went into meltdown. Oh dear. I've got a comment on the FIFA Peace Prize. I'm sure you've seen it. If that didn't make you feel uncomfortable, I don't know what would. I mean, initially a video reel that looked like it was going to be for some sort of charity organisation that you'd see at this time of year donating to something like Save the Children or Oxfam, something like that. I thought they were going to ask for donations. Turns out it was the start of the Peace Prize presentation. Infantino comes on with a trophy bigger than the actual World Cup trophy. It looked grotesque. 4 golden severed hands holding up. I think it was either a ball or a globe, a world. I mean, I'd hazard a guess to say that won't be presented to anyone again. That's Trump's now. That's going to be... Well, he'll take that to his grave. And then he had his speech, which, to his credit, he did manage to squeeze everything in about 2 minutes. But he just babbled on about the Congo and all the peace he's managed to achieve. And I say peace in air marks.
FIFA, the Fédération Internationale de Football Association, awards the 2025 FIFA Peace Prize, Football Unites the World, to Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America, in recognition of his exceptional and extraordinary actions to promote peace and unity around the world. Friday, December 5th, 2025. This is the certificate. It's yours.
Thank you very much. This is truly one of the great honors of my life. And beyond awards, John and I were discussing this. We saved millions and millions of lives.
And then we can go back a few weeks now. I'm sure you saw the situation with Portugal's Ronaldo. He was sent off against Ireland in their penultimate competitive game before the finals. This was for an elbow, which comes under violent conduct, usually carries a 3-match ban. He was given a reprise by FIFA of a suspended 2nd and 3rd match ban. So he sat out Portugal's last qualification match against Armenia, meaning he can now start in the World Cup. Apparently FIFA took into account that this was his first red for Portugal in 225 games. Just smells, doesn't it? Just stinks. And then Ronaldo, he was next seen at the White House having dinner with Trump. Then he releases a selfie on Instagram. Who's in the background? Oh look, there's Infantino's bald head. Elon Musk squeezing himself in as well. They're all smiling in their dinner jackets and dicky bows. Nothing against Ronaldo. We all know the player he is. But he isn't above the rules of the game. Clearly FIFA know his status and, well, they couldn't have him miss any of the first 3 games of the tournament, could they? That's a significant amount of money that they'd lose. At least, please, try and hide the corruption. Sickening. I know each tournament has its scare stories, but this one seems to not have a story as such, but just a general undercurrent of blatant cash grabbing. Cast your mind back to the run-up to Russia in 2018, Qatar 2022. There were news stories upon news stories about corruption, slave labour, human rights. Every journalist worth his or her salt found a story, and they'd run with it. There seems to be very little so far for this tournament, and we can all see it, but no one really wants to call it out, especially in support of the fans. Let's go back to those pots for the World Cup stages. We were in pot 1, a seeded team along with Spain, Argentina and France. And between all those 4 teams, they are all the top 4 seeds. And for the first time in the draw's history, FIFA have rigged it so that if each nation wins their group stage, they all can't meet until the semi-finals or the final. Basically, all those nations have been put in different halves of the draw with predetermined pathways. Obviously, this goes out the window if one or more finishes second, or, dare I say, as one of the best third-placed teams. Because remember that, this is a bigger, expanded tournament this time around. 48 teams across 5 weeks and 4 days. So we had the usual music. Andrea Bocelli, Robbie Williams and Nicole Scherzinger with the new anthem for the tournament. I didn't actually make a note of what it was called, but I have to say it didn't leave a lasting impression, I have to say. And then Lauryn Hill turned up too, formerly of the Fugees. I keep digressing, I keep sidetracking. So the draw was made Friday night. In England, it was on the telly. It was also streamed worldwide on FIFA's website. And what has been the usual way, venues, dates, times, etc., they've been announced the following day. But now, instead of just releasing these details, they've decided to televise this too. FIFA has become a television show that nobody really wants. But here we are. Who did we draw? Actually, I'm going to digress again. Sorry. After Infantino and Trump had their love-in, their moment, the draw was conducted by Rio Ferdinand, who I'll come back to in a minute. The co-conductor was Samantha Johnson, a former US women's player. Then you've got the draw assistants. Get ready for some legendary names within the game. Aaron Judge, Shaquille O'Neal, Tom Brady and Wayne Gretzky, who, bless him, looked like he could do with a pair of glasses. So we had a baseball player, a basketball player, another NFL player and bankroller of Birmingham City, and a Canadian hockey player. FIFA, you gotta do better. Plus, where was the Mexican touch to the draw? No Mexican present. Anyway, there was Rio Ferdinand, who kept calling everyone guys. It's like nails down a chalkboard. Guys. He spoke to the BBC a few days before the draw, and this wound me up. This wound me up no end. If ever there was someone sucking up to FIFA, this was it.
I am a man of the people in terms of I'm from a place where we were always hoping for things to be accessible.
I think the cost of tickets needs to be borne in mind to fans. There's been a lot around the sort of dynamic pricing, and that might be pricing out certain fans. Is it important that this event does have football fans for the atmosphere and they're not just priced out?
I think we have to be conscious of that, and I think the FIFA are definitely people that are conscious of that, the powers that be there. But listen, I think we can look at every industry, every sector. We could have that conversation about things, and I think it's more about making sure that there's a product there that's super elite that matches what's on the pitch, and then everyone can feel, you know what, it's justified me taking the time out, working hard to go and get my tickets. But I am a man of the people in terms of I'm from a place where we were always hoping for things to be accessible, and I know that the people behind the scenes at FIFA are aiming and working towards something like that. Now, whether they get there for that remains to be seen.
Rio, you've been bought. Someone grab me a bucket. So, all the presidents, they all took to the stage. Canada's Mark Carney, Mexico's Claudia Sheinbaum, and America's Donald Trump. Basically, they took to the stage to draw their own country's balls from the pots. They all then pretended to look surprised that they'd pulled their own country out. Infantino then gets them all together for a selfie on live telly. You're a grown man, Infantino. My word, it was awful. But 1 hour, 26 minutes in, it finally started. Balls were ready to be picked from the bowls. And it kind of felt right that Brazil were first out from pot one. And we were drawn last, Group L. So our tournament will start on the 17th of June. We were joined by Croatia, Panama and Ghana. Initially, I think it's a group we will progress from, but I don't think it's as easy as I've seen some make out. So let's just take a look at the history. Croatia. The only time we've met them in the World Cup was back in 2018. I'm sure many of you were there in Russia. It was the semi-final at the Luzhniki in Moscow. Kieran Trippier putting us ahead after 5 minutes. What a moment that was. Even Perisic would equalise in the second half before it went to extra time, where Mandzukic sealed the win for them to take them to the final, where they lost to France. I think that was the tournament where I think every knockout round, Croatia went to extra time. But as a nation, we've met them 11 times. We've won 6, we've drawn 2, and we've lost on 3 occasions. But think back to Euro 2004 and Rooney and Theo Walcott's away hat-trick in Zagreb. We've had some good moments against the Croatians. Here's hoping for another. Panama. Well, we go back to 2018 once again for the only time we've met. And that was the group stage when Panama were at their first World Cup. It was their second game. And we were 5-0 up by half-time. Jesse Lingard got 1, John Stones got 2, and Harry Kane got a hat-trick before Philippe Balloy scored Panama's first ever goal at the finals. Then Ghana. Like Panama, we've only met once. And you have to go back to March 2011 for that, for a friendly at Wembley. It ended 1-1 with Andy Carroll getting the opener, only for Asamoah Gyan to equalise in the last minute. I confess, it wasn't a game I went to. I know that because I was on my honeymoon at the time. Whilst it's old news that we qualified with 8 wins out of 8 and none conceded, how did each of our opponents get to the finals? Well, Croatia, who were 10th in the FIFA rankings, topped their Euro group ahead of the Czech Republic, the Faroe Islands, Montenegro and Gibraltar. The only points dropped was away to the Czechs in a goalless draw. And people keep saying they're an ageing team, but they keep proving people wrong. Luka Modric, despite being 40, is still pulling up trees in Serie A for AC Milan. They've also got Gvardiol at Manchester City. Perisic is still doing things too, currently at PSV Eindhoven. I don't think we can write them off. Panama, well, they're 30th in the rankings. They had to go through 2 CONCACAF groups to get to the finals, and they topped them both. To start with, they began in the second round. They were drawn in with Nicaragua, Guyana, Montserrat and Belize. They topped that and moved into the third round, where they topped a group of Suriname, Guatemala and El Salvador. I have to be honest, I don't recognise any of their players. Most play in and around that Central American region. And then to Ghana, 72nd in the rankings. They topped their group ahead of Madagascar, Mali, Comoros, Central African Republic and Chad. They won 8, drew 1 and lost 1. Now AFCON is coming up very soon. You'd think normally it'd be an opportunity to see Ghana and what they're like, but they didn't actually qualify for that. But there are a few players that might be familiar to us. Brandon Thomas Asante is at Coventry, Anton Semenyo is at Bournemouth, Mohamed Kudus at Spurs, and both Jordan Ayew and Abdul Fattah are at Leicester. I don't think Ghana will be the pushover that people think they might be. We'll see, obviously. The schedule is that we will play our opener against Croatia on Wednesday the 17th of June in either Dallas or Toronto. Tuesday the 23rd, we face Ghana in Toronto or Boston, and Panama Saturday the 27th in Philadelphia or New Jersey. Now, I'm recording this before the venues are actually confirmed. So if you want to know those officially, you'll have to watch that second FIFA TV show. If you can put yourself through that. Now, I've seen a lot of screenshots of people showing our route to the final. I have to say, I don't like that at all. It's too arrogant for me. Whilst I think we can qualify from this group, I can see a possibility of us coming second. A draw against Croatia and Ghana and a win against Panama would see us on 5 points, with either Croatia or Ghana topping it with 6 or 7. I don't think it's a hard group, but I don't think it's as easy as some will make out. So that's about it. What do you reckon? Am I erring on the side of caution too much? Can we romp this group? Can we go unbeaten and win it? Let me know on the socials. Just search 3 Lions Podcast. Always great to hear from you. And that was the draw, which was then rounded off with the village people doing the YMCA. And the moment that everyone thought would happen, did happen. Trump dancing. Was it really a bad dream? Thanks for listening. I will be back with you very soon. As I say, don't forget to follow us on the socials. Just search 3 Lions Podcast. I will be back with you very soon with some more England-related content. So until then, take care. Cheers.